Okay, I'm going to talk today about the question that I didn't choose for the take-home exam, which was the one about how learning another language can aid you with your public relations work. I suppose the first thing to start with, and this relates to week 3, the cross-communication lecture. I think the first thing to start with is obviously learning another language when you're going to work there obviously is a very respectful gesture, and it will, clearly help you with your work over there if everyone else is speaking it, but that's not the main point. I think learning another language gives you a very unique insight into cultural practices that you wouldn't normally gain. I'd like to bring up the semiotics, semiology, the study of signs that we touched on in, I think, all of our first years. And semiotics says that a word is an arbitrary signifier, and it will signify a concept. And the word and the concept don't actually have anything in common other than that the culture has chosen to assign that word to that concept. For example, the word desk has nothing to do and in no way resembles an actual desk, but as a culture we have decided to assign that signifier to that signified symbol. And that's what it becomes. So therefore they say if a word doesn't exist to a person, if there's no such word, then they don't have a concept of what the word is. I remember one of my tutors in my first year used the example, if a culture has no word for poison, then the concept of poison does not exist to them. And there was a lot of discussion on what is real. And someone pointed out, well, they can still be killed by poison even if they don't have a word for it. And I think what they said was, yes, but to them it wouldn't have been poison, it would be like bad spirits or something. The concept doesn't exist unless you have a word for it, unless you can define it. And this is kind of a controversial topic, but I think the gist of it is quite relevant. I'd like to bring up an example. When I was learning German, I found that there's no actual word for sorry, quite like there is in English. There is es tut mir leid, which is I am suffering, but that doesn't quite mean sorry, does it? It means that, like, your pain is such that it is making me suffer, that I'm so sorry for your pain that it is making me suffer. But it's not quite sorry in the remorseful sense that it is in English. They also have Entschuldigung, which is excuse me, but that's more for like if you knock into someone or something. There's no actual real equivalent for sorry in the English sense in German. And I think this is a very interesting insight into their cultural practices, because I remember I questioned one of my German relatives on this, and they said that in their opinion the excessive use of manners that exists in English culture is a waste of time. Like the excessive pleases and thank yous and sorries, they said that they didn't really consider that necessary. So now if I was to practice public relations in Germany, I would have the cultural insight, knowing the language, to know that the cultural practice of excessive use of manners would be considered a nuisance and wouldn't be necessary in my work. I suppose also, just to end off, I'd like to let you know of a little fact. It's probably not the best reference, but hey, this is a video diary. The Twitter account OMG Facts, which just gives like trivia and stuff on Twitter, I remember reading there, it claimed that making decisions while thinking in a language other than your own increases the rationality of the decision. And I just thought that was interesting, because I suppose you put more effort into choosing the words. But yeah, that doesn't really change anything. So yeah, I think learning another language is definitely a very good tactic in understanding the cultural practices and the cultural kind of way of thinking, the cultural ideology. It says a lot and will definitely help you in public relations work. Thank you.